call, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. PSR is excited to present to you Last Call, featuring your boy, the pimp slap POD, Mike L.
Pimpin' ain't easy, but it's fun like money. Got bookies on the run, now it's time to get money. Not your typical way to ball. It's last call like some convicts waiting on the next draw. You can feel the tension. Did I mention? Fools better pay attention, cause we getting paid like a pension. T's on the ones and twos, we not the ones that lose. Mike, money's killers, Mike even make the even news.
And now, let's get to the picks.
We be pumping! Buzz Force Radio, you know we be pumping!
What up? What up? What up? Welcome back. It's Last Call, baby. Super Bowl week here. We've got it Monday, February 5th. Excited to be here and go through tonight's card with you guys. Exceptionally excited tonight because we've got an opportunity to lace the skates back up. Man, I missed me some hockey this past weekend. Didn't realize it until we were just there in the thralls of it, betting on college basketball and the NBA. Still a fine spot there. MMA, not so great, but missed me some NHL. So we got a two-pack of games tonight. We're going to attack both of those games. I think there's some great angles to capitalize on there. You guys know the deal here. College basketball, we roll into part two of the show. We're going to have ourselves a nice little, I think it's a three-pack. I was going to go four-pack of college games, but a smaller card today in the college basketball ranks. And I want to just try to make sure that we can dig in deep and get them winners. And then last but not least, we've got the NBA. We're going to go through, it's again, a smaller card today in the NBA. I added a late play here. Even after we popped off for the show here, all the information got final. I still sent them. I still have another play that I want to get into. And I say last but not least, we're going to have some fun here, you guys. It's Monday. It's the road to the Super Bowl. It starts this week here. Sunday night extravaganza with that NFL kickoff between Kansas City and the San Francisco 49ers. I thought, what can we do to have ourselves a little fun here? I know what we can do. We're going to drop a little trail all the way to the Super Bowl of props and bets that we're on here because there are no shows for me over the weekend for football, for giving you guys out plays. I'm going to start it off tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about my first prop for the Super Bowl tonight. So going to be fun. Of course, after Last Call tonight, you guys, stay tuned, freshen up your cocktails. Them boys are rolling out. Jimmy the Bag is hosting a banger of cappers out there. Final week of the NFL season to give out them looks, to get them books. And it's going to be a lot of fun to watch that show tonight. So the full cast is assembled. I want to say he had 12, maybe more guests on the show tonight. So it's going to be fun to see what they have. You guys know we've got to keep a brisk pace. You know they're going to keep a brisk pace. But if you're just getting in, rocking and rolling with us tonight, you know the deal. Last call, we ask you to do three things. You're just getting home. You're just getting out of work. You're trying to figure it all out tonight. All we need you to do here is three things. Hit that like button for us. Give us the thumbs up. Show the support. Show you appreciate what we're doing here on the regular. Hard to believe we're already on show number 72. Second thing we need you guys to do out there, grab a pen and paper. We already got chat pouring in with their best looks out there. You're going to want to write those down, not just myself and T and what we share back and forth, but our panel and, of course, our chat that just gets sharper and sharper every single day. So love to see them out there. Love to see them eagerly anticipating their best looks of the night, and I can't wait to go through them with everybody. And last but not least, throw them out there in the chat for us. Let's highlight what you guys have tonight. Let's get the opportunity to share what everybody's looking at, all of us working at the same way to build our bankrolls. It's very important here. We're in month number 2 of 2024. We need to get them bankrolls growing, and we're going to start tonight here. We're going to have ourselves a banger. I can't wait. And shout out to everybody. There's our guy, Joe T, first guy in the chat, giving us not just one, but all of his card here, his best looks tonight. His favorite, he likes the incarnate word, Southeast Louisiana spot. He likes that one. Seeing points. We know there's going to be an opportunity for points in that game. We're going to talk about that as well. He's on the over 137.5. Then he gave us the rest of his looks here. He's got Texas A&M Commerce, McNeese State with an over 136. And he's going Northwest State, Nichols at over 143 out there. Justin in the chat as well. The Stacks PODs on Jackson State -1.5. Love it. We're in mid-major Monday. Appreciate you guys taking a look at the mid-major schools. That's where we have the advantage. The book's got to put numbers on everything, and we can go out there and cherry pick off the spots we want to play. We've got the Futon Bets in the house. 7+3s from Steph Curry. Says, what up, Mike? Futon Bets, great to see you. I hope you had a great weekend, my guy. Thanks for sharing with us. And Nanya likes that NC Central first half and full game. I'm going to say that one just narrowly missed the card. I do have NC Central in a couple of parlays, but like where our guy Nunya is at with that one. Morgan Spooner, what's up, Morgan? He says, what's up, guys? Garbage Patch plays of the day likes Northwestern State plus 6.5. He's going Houston Christian plus 6.5. That's his lucky number, the 6.5. And he is on a plane heading to Vegas for the first time. Morgan Spooner, have fun, pace yourself, and take advantage, my guy. You go up big one night. Don't be afraid to throw it frivolously away on something in the late night of the evening. Not going to tell you what that needs to be, but we just want to hear you come back with some stories about how you blew $1,000 that you won at the blackjack table on something foolish, and you can't believe you did it. That's what comes back from Vegas on those first trips. Ian Shaver says, what's the hops? To tops. I'm looking forward to it, my guy. Let's go. Nasty Nate in the chat says, how about them Celtics? Nasty Nate, shout out to you, my guy. Good seeing you in here. Markel says, let's go. Justin says, last call. And Ian Shaver, I'm struggling with my enunciation today here. Pre-flop hardwood. He likes Bethune-Cookman at -1.5 and Jackson State even. Miami team total over 62.5. I can appreciate that, Ian. That's an interesting way to attack that Miami game. Thank you for sharing, my guy. Tori Coker, good to see you. Gagnon got banged on a lot of live NBA prop bets, but he likes taking a under 1.5 threes live near the end of the fourth quarter, and the guy bangs 4 3. That's gonna hurt you. That's gonna hurt you, my guy. I can feel for you. I've been there on the other side of things where the guy only needs one and he doesn't do shit the rest of the game. So, oops, we're not quite to 8 minutes yet. Subhuman Gaucho, good to see you in the house. Nunya, I mentioned that. He says, we be pumping. Let's go. Morgan Spooner asking Mike, Ian Shaver. I have Bethune money line on my card. We see it, my guy. We're going to look to cash with you. Ricky Levine, let's go. This is hockey is back. Ricky, I'm excited that hockey's back. We got a small card today, but they're opening it up tomorrow, and we certainly will do the same. We have to be cautious here. First game's back from the All-Star break. Always a little trickery, but we're going to navigate that thing. Nicholas Handy likes the Cavs -3.5. Swizz in the house. Swizz, good to see you, man. Thanks for hanging out with us on Saturday. Says we be pubbing. Tarek B, Big Mike in the house, beating them books. Let's go, Tarek B. Nunya, itchy for action on all these early games. Rude Boy says, what up, Pin? What up, Rude Boy? And Smooth Balls, Jay Smooth, the Smooth Balls, P-O-D. And no, you got to keep them smooth. He's going to that under with Eastern Washington, Portland under 151 for our guy, Jay Smooth. Coin, what up? He says, let's have a Monday NC Central over 148.5. Steve Bailey in the house. He likes the Grambling over 66.5 team total. Love to see you guys cracking into these mid-major schools. This is not where we get afraid. We step in and embrace it when they give us these numbers because all the action's out there on them Miami, Virginia games and them Kansas State games. But who's taking a look at Northwestern State, right? Who's looking at Alcorn State? It's not. I couldn't even tell you what state it's in, but it's going to be an opportunity for us to get some cash. So let's go. Abel A says, I would have hit a 16-leg parlay yesterday, but Joker didn't get the double-double. Yeah, you know what's funny, Abel? Well, it's not funny. It's pretty shitty, but his lack of getting to 10 rebounds cost me on a 50-1 prop ticket as well. So Joker's definitely in my doghouse right now, and we'll see. You know, I'm sure he'll redeem himself, but without the pressure of Joel Embiid trying to push him to be the MVP, is he just going to have some average days now and not keep averaging a triple-double? We'll see how that plays out here over the next month of the season. Caddy Daddy, what's going on, fam? Mike Wilkerson in the house. He likes Mitchell over points and assists, and Caddy Daddy's on the over 142.5, guys. Welcome in. Smash that thumbs up. Let's get to today's show. I told you, we'll set the table. We're getting in hockey. You know we kick it off. It's my favorite sport. It's one of our strongest sports. We're going to lead off the show in the NHL. We're going to pivot over to college basketball, hit some NBA, and close it out with our road to the Super Bowl here. Prop spot a day or a bet a day that I'm looking to take advantage of for the Super Bowl. By the time we get to Friday, we'll have ourselves a nice little 5-pack getting ready to go out there and get that cash for the Super Bowl. So as we do every show, we are transparent. We drop off here. We'll start off talking and recapping last Friday. I'd like to put it in the books and put it behind us. Last week was one of those weeks I felt like we just had to get through it, and couldn't wait to get some new action back on the table this week. So college basketball, not too great to me. It was an 0-3 day in college hoops there on Friday. Penn, shout out to Justin. I think he was the guy that was on the other side of me with that Penn spot. Penn Brown, I believe it was. And Penn, tight up to that end of the game there. And then they just kind of got run over and run out of the gym. Princeton, pretty much the same deal. And then Iowa -5. 3 big losses in college, the only 3 plays we had here, and that's never a good time. Of course, if you saw the PSR stream, we did wrap up the night with that Nevada spot. They blew them boys out, and that was my first cut when it came to last call. So hate to do it, but we got to take those 3 L's. We did cash that Washington spot. I told you Washington's going to be one of those teams we're back running with here, and plus 8.5 gets the job done. The Sun to the Nurkic double-double does not get there for us. And then doesn't he get a double-double the next day? I'm like, God damn it. Suns, Nurkic, whatever. Kings minus 3.5 cash. Golden State minus 8.5 cash. Houston Rockets minus 4.5 cash. I should have just stayed with my gut there with this New Orleans spot. I like New Orleans in the first half and the full game. Bad news, they lost them both, right? They won the game outright. But I was just going to go, and I had that lean to the wire at plus 140. I thought about, do I want to have 2 units tied up in this thing? I didn't ultimately. They all would have, didn't matter which side I took, they would have lost. I would have just rather lost 1 unit than 3. But we did close out the day strong. We did get our player prop parlay. We've got the Wembyana over 2.5 blocks. And then Bam with 10 plus rebounds at a nice plus 125 to close out Friday show. And look, disappointing week, but it is behind us and it is time to move forward. So we are all about focusing in on what's ahead of us here. And it's going to be a lot of fun this week. Again, the NHL's coming back. We're getting closer to this NBA All-Star situation. So we'll monitor the trickery in the association. But I think a nice card tonight. We got a nice spot out there. Some tricky spots, too, that I'll highlight for you guys that I might not necessarily be on. But we want to make sure you guys are aware of what's cooking out there so that we can win and not take those L's unnecessarily. But let's jump in. Let's get right into this thing. Again, super excited to be back to the NHL tonight. And we're going to open it up. We've got 2 7 p.m. starts, so we've got about 45 minutes, maybe 50 till these games pop off. And we're going to take a shot on both of them. There's not just a shot, but I think a calculated play here with both these things. Of course, the tricky spot is this game was in Toronto, so there was international travel galore, but not just international travel for those that were in the All-Star break. Everybody gets that little mini vacation, whether they go to Mexico or Vegas. I believe they said the number 1 destination for hockey players was Vegas. So I expect that a lot of them boys went off to Vegas and had themselves a nice weekend. But it's time to get back to business, and we're going to open up and attack this Islanders-Toronto Maple Leaf spot. You look at this Toronto side of things, we've got Samsonov. This is the battle of the Ilias in goal here. Samsonov at 8-3-6 with Toronto. A mere 3.36 goals against average and 87.8% save percentage. The other side of it, we've got Ilya Sorokin, 14-12-9, 3.17 goals against average and a 90.9% save percentage. I'll tell you, there's a lot of reasons why I want to jump in on this Islanders side to pop this card off tonight. First and foremost, Islanders played it so poorly, their coach got ousted, and they bring in Patrick Waugh. Now, he's a goaltending whisperer. He's also a cocktail whisperer, and he's not afraid to fire off the backhand. But, when it comes to hockey here, I think it's a situation for goaltenders to step up. We've seen it across the entire NHL card. Coaching changes happen. They focus on, playing defense. Coaches that are brand new to the bench, they don't want to get run up and get run out of the rink. They go out there, they play defense. They focus on kind of protecting the net first, and that's where goaltenders can excel. Tricky little spot, though. Samsonov does have his spot going on his last 3 games where he's had 2 or fewer goals, and he's been saving them at 96%. You look at this Islander side of things, they lost 3 in a row heading into the All-Star break as well. This team needed that All-Star break, but it was a weird dynamic for the Islanders. Varlamov comes back from the injury. They pop him in the goal. He goes 0-2 for the All-Star break, which I think in this case was a benefit for Sorokin to catch some needed time off here. He just had the tires kind of getting the tread run off them tires. And they bring Varlamov back so they can get back to this 1-2 punch. Gives them a little rest and relief, knowing they can go out there and put their all in it because they don't have to worry about that next game when they've got kind of their partner that can come back in that net and match them up. So, each big spot that I looked at for this game particularly, I tried to figure out what's it look like when these guys come back from rest here. This time of the season, we go back to 2016. What we do have ourselves here is a rested road dog advantage. When the line's between a plus 115 and a plus 150. Here we are at plus 140 for this New York Islander spot. These dogs are 14-4. Then I kind of looked for the intersection point there to get there for us. And I found that the dog in the series between the Islanders and the Maple Leafs has won 4 of the last 5 spots. Despite the troubles the Islanders have faced here going into the All-Star break, they do have a 4-3 victory. Last time they played Toronto, about 3 weeks ago, January 11th out there. So I think they're going to come into this one with some confidence. They've got Sorokin back in goal, rested, and we know that the rested dogs definitely have the advantage out there here. We'll open this card up post All-Star break. Can't believe I'm saying it. I'm saying it with such excitement, but I'm jumping in on these New York Islanders at a great price too. I think their struggles kind of indicate this number and where it is today. But I love it. And I think it's coming down a couple of dollars from where it was earlier today. The pre-line opened at 146. Love what I'm seeing there. The Futon bet says under 6.5 goals. RVD 420 likes the New York Toronto draw. Says, hi, Mike EM. What's up, RVD? And there's Kelly V in the chat. Under 136 in the McNeese State game. First meeting, McNeese State 173-67. Teams combined 48 points from 3 and combined 30 of 43 free throws. Under for our girl, Kelly V. That's some great information, Kelly. Thank you very much for sharing. Nunya likes that Bama State first half money line versus FAMU. And there's our guy, Perky Bumps, as the Perk Man has entered the chat. You guys are just in time and ready to roll here. We're opening up our card. It's we've got a little bit of regression on this number now. It's down from plus 142. Best number I see out there is 140, but we've got 138s, 130s, 125s, and 124. So you are going to want to get in there and take advantage. The best number we can get right now being that plus 140. We'll take that for show purposes. And we're going to move on to the second 7 p.m. game. They're easing into the schedule as we roll through NHL here on Monday, the first day after the All-Star break. And we got ourselves another little banger here. This is one of the spots that I kind of looked at it at first, and I was not entirely sure how I wanted to dive in. Preseason, I only took 2 future bets in hockey. I don't usually do it, but I just kind of thought with this situation, they won't affect my betting. I'm not going to be one of those guys that says, well, I've got a future on him, so I don't need to play him. Hell, I'm going to play him anyways. But in this case, the 2 futures I jumped in on were the New Jersey Devils. I know Mel says she's got the New Jersey Devils minus 110 not to make the playoffs, so I don't like seeing that. But I also got the New York Rangers as well. And I did add a third. Here over the All-Star break. I jumped into the Carolina Hurricanes at 12-1. So we'll see how those go. Again, it's kind of my first dip into, publicly sharing some of these plays. Usually for me, I reserve these things for, I cashed out at the casino. I'm walking out the door, getting ready to go. And I'm like, hell, you know what? Let me drop a $10 parlay on, everybody to win the championship this year, NFL, NBA, and I'll parlay them together and see what happens. And of course I haven't hit any yet, but that's usually where I reserve those things for, because I just think it's too much time to have this cash invested. You can turn that money around pretty quickly, but nonetheless, there we are. We're on that spot as far as the third ad. The New York Rangers are the spot that I'm adding though for this game here. I love the fact that we've got Jonathan Quick in goal. We had Shesterkin in the All-Star game, so we know he's getting that rest as he's kind of coming back home. It's a short trip, though, Toronto to New York. And here we go with Colorado sitting out here on the East Coast. Now, the benefit, Colorado did have some guys in the All-Star break, so certainly this situation. But they're going back to Georgiev in goal at 27, 11, and 2. He's definitely having a subpar season. He's 2.9 goals against average, 89.8% save percentage. Do I expect that to continue throughout the season? No, I still think Colorado is one of the better teams in the West. We did see over the All-Star break that the Kings finally pulled the trigger, firing their coach out there. And everybody loved the Kings to win the Stanley Cup. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of rebound and rally these first couple of games with the new coach under the helm. But as far as the West, I still think Colorado and Las Vegas are 2 teams to contend with this thing out there. Here we go with this Monday spot. We've got Jonathan Quick on the other side in between the pipes for the New York Rangers. Quick, though, we talked about it. This guy's, as a backup, having one hell of a season. 2.43 goals against average, 91.4% saving. Jonathan Quick is 10-4-2 on the season. Lots to look at here. Georgiev, 5th straight start. He does have 3 in a row, and he played pretty strong going into the All-Star break, despite his numbers at 85 saves on 92 shots in the 3 games leading into the All-Star break. I just talked about Shesterkin. Quick, though, in his last 2 starts was 1-1, 53 saves on 57 shots, good for a 93% save percentage. We know Colorado's riding a 3-game winning streak, and if they're so red hot, what's going on with this line that they open it in such a marginable situation now? It's dropping a little bit against the Rangers. Some of the best numbers we can see now, there is a minus 103 out there at Bet Rivers. Everything else is minus 110s, minus 111s, and a minus 112 over there at DK. So despite the fact that Colorado's riding this trend and playing strong hockey right now, this New York Rangers team essentially in the eyes of the bookmakers is a coin flip. And I think I know why. Monday home favorite situation. This has a lot to do with the travel coming in, which, again, you can't really just query All-Star break. You can look at time frames, but it moves a lot. There's a lot of different changes, regionally. Where is it? There's a lot of factors in there. So I try to look at time off in terms of both teams having equal rest as they do. I also try to look at, hey, here's this Monday coming back, and home favorites that are lined between a -100 and -140 are an amazing 11-2 out there in those 13-game sample. I know it's a small sample, but we've only had a few Mondays. Well, I say a few. We've had, plenty on Mondays at this point now. We're what, October, November, December, January. We're 3.5 months into the NHL season. So, as far as this is concerned, it's pretty much every Monday when we're in this situation with a small favorite between -100 and -140, 11-2. But it's the margin that jumps off to me. You guys know I don't try to find something that's got a 0.2 game or a 0.2 goal margin. The margin in this case is 2.25 goals in those spots. I wouldn't be mad at anybody that wants to jump in there and take advantage of the Rangers on the spread. It's +205 right now on the -1.5 puck line. I'm not going to get greedy. I don't want to mess with overtime here. I don't know what trickery we're going to see coming out of this break here, but I like a nice low vig spot at -103, coupled with our Islanders +140 to get the NHL card back in swing for us tonight. Let's see if we can't get ourselves a nice little 2-0 night in hockey. I think the big thing for us with this NHL spot, it's going to come down to Barzal and what he can do with them New York Islanders. He's going to be the linchpin there, the key cog in the wheel for them to get that victory out there against Toronto. And again, I saw Austin Matthews, in my opinion, a flat spot. I think Austin Matthews wants to come home. And by home, I mean the U.S. So we'll see what happens there with that game. Kelly V says Virginia and the under correlates for Kelly V. K-State don't have the weapons to keep up with Kansas, she says. Scotty likes the Avs first period, New York Rangers under 4, and the Avs full game. Well, Scotty, that doesn't look like we're in much alignment there, my friend, but that's okay. It happens, and that's why we all get together and share these numbers. Love to see it come back tomorrow and talk about the results of those spots out there. Not mad at that Avs first period spot, but I think there's a lot going for the Rangers in this case. And then Mel says, Mike, I would also lean the Rangers. Big hangover spot for the Avs with multiple All-Star and other teams like Byron partying all week in Mexico. Avs team total under may also be worth a look. Love to hear it, Mel. Love to be on the same side there. Certainly, we've gone head-to-head plenty this year, and I'm sure we'll have more, but that's going to do it for the NHL. So, again, we got a -103. We're seeing -110s, -112s, and -115s along the hop. Let's transition and keep this brisk pace going, you guys. Appreciate you rocking in here with us. Hit that thumbs up button here. We've got the college basketball court to get to. We're going to jump into the NBA, and we're going to drop a little nugget here, a little fun as we get ready for the Super Bowl here with Pub Sports Radio and last call. So let's go. Let's see if we can get into it. Ricky Levine says the Islanders dropped to +125 in my book. That's kind of where I'm thinking it's a great spot to be. Tarek B says, Mike, how about the under 6.5? Tarek B, which game are you talking about? The Islanders game or the Rangers game? Kind of like the over in that Islanders game. Kind of like it. In fact, I was looking at a player prop with the team total over for the Islanders, Barzal to get over 2.5 shots on goal, and the Islanders to win. And I want to say that was like 4.5 to 1 or something like that. So anyhow, let's keep it rolling. Let's move onward and upward. We're going to go to college hoops here next in the agenda. We've got a nice little slate tonight. 3 games we're going to talk about here. I was on the sesh earlier today with them boys, Dabby, Dutch, shout out to them, as well as Trot Wham, LJ from the H, and Razor Sharp Picks. And Dabby and I were kind of going back and forth a little with this Miami game. I had a difficult time pulling the trigger on this one, or at least giving it out as an official spot here. I'm going to take advantage of it. I like the numbers that I'm seeing. This line opened at -4. It's now -5.5, so -6s. But I think it's getting to that ceiling of too many points now. I'm starting to see 6.5s. 34% of the bets, 65% of the cash on that Virginia side of things. So, that was kind of my concern there, is now we're seeing it move. I like the early numbers. I got it earlier at 4.5s. But it's just moved too many points for me to give that out. Now, just real quick, I wasn't going to get into it and talk about it, but since I did mention it earlier, I will bring it up here. I don't like the way Miami shoots the 3, and I would think Virginia is one of those teams that pushes you to take the 3. The challenge that Miami's had this season is they started out so red hot because they had that carryover momentum, in my opinion, from college basketball last season, where they had that nice deep run. Of course, University of Miami was hot between men's and women's programs, cooking it all the way through their respective collegiate tournaments. But the rest of the conference has gotten better now. And to me, that's a challenge for these guys. So anyhow, if you can get a better number on that or look to live bet it, then by all means. But the first game I dropped into here, and I see some guys and girls in the chat talking about it. Apache Storm says, Mike, you must think the Rangers goalie kicks butt. So I'm taking the under first period. Yeah, Apache Storm. Last week I gave out a couple of first period plays, and it couldn't have been a worse situation. I gave out 2 first period plays. I think there was 4 games that day. The exact opposite happened in those. But if I played them on any other game, they would have hit. So I just try to keep it simple. I want to get the full game's benefit here. When I start looking at power play percentage, penalty kill percentage, goaltender save percentages, anything can happen inside a bubble of a period, but give me the opportunity for the full game itself. And Director 97 with the big $5 dono. What up, Director 97? It's great to see you, my guy. Here's his card. Not only is he giving you a dono, he's giving you his hard looks there. He's on Miami +6, Houston Baptist +7, Norfolk State -9, the bookie killer. Let's cash some tickets, guys. Pimp slap, have a beer on me. Thanks, Director 97. You're a hell of a guy, man. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for sharing the looks, and thanks for sharing the cash, my guy. Appreciate you and all you do on the daily basis showing up here. Brian Watson, let's go. He says, I'd be interested to see what people do with Oilers tomorrow. Yeah, that'll be an interesting spot. Morgan Spooner, good luck. Always love Kansas at home, but with only 6 guys, South can trust the rotation. They are a liability on the road. Morgantown is hard for anyone, but the West Virginia team is not as good as K-State. Yeah, that's an interesting look. We'll talk about that for sure. Apache Storm says, Mike, tomorrow's a big day in college. Gets go low today, but small and build up. Oh, let's go low, I think is what he meant to say out there. Absolutely. Let's go. Let's go. Let's keep rolling. That hurts. Eric Jones says 6. Give me Miami with the points. Getting a little too high for me. I think 4 or 5 gets the job done. Now we're getting to the window of, I think it's probably a 7-point game. But anyhow, first game I'm going to open up with for you guys here. I'm looking at Incarnate Word in Southeast Louisiana. We love them mid-majors. That's how we're going to get paid, 7 p.m. Eastern. This line opened at 7, has started to move to 7.5. Only 27% of the bets, but 90% of the cash. Bigger bettors like this Southeast Louisiana team. The total opened at 137. Despite 75% of the bets and 92% of the cash on the over, we've seen it drop a little bit here. We've got a 7-14 Incarnate Word Cardinals team taking on the Southeastern Louisiana Lions at 9-13. And look, I get it. You don't watch a lot of these games, so you want to get in there and take the points. I'm certainly not mad at that, but Incarnate Word has not been able to generate any consistency. They're coming off, they're 1-3 in their last 4 spread games out there. As a dog, getting 3 points, they lose by 4 to Nichols. That's another team that I was kind of eyeing tonight with the trend I'm going to share with you guys. Then they play that, Houston Christian, 4.5-point favorites. They only win by 4. Again, not covering the spread. They got Texas A&M Commerce, 66-71 as a 3.5-point dog. They lost that one. It's that shitbag New Orleans team. And you guys remember the situation now. I've talked about it plenty of time. What do we do when teams play New Orleans the next game? What do we do? I'll tell you what we do. Don't worry about it. If you didn't write it down, I'll tell you. We fade their asses is exactly what we do there. And this is where the intersecting opportunity opens up for us here. Southeast Louisiana in the Southland Conference. The last 2 times the teams met, their head-to-head was an under on a Monday. The home favorite has won those games 5 times out of the last 6 that they've played out there. Incarnate Word has lost its last 8 night games against the conference. Incarnate Word needs this season to end. I don't know why everyone's jumping on them and taking these points right now. I have watched a couple of Incarnate Word games. They're 8-10-1 against the spread, 7-14 on the season, and damn near bottom of the stack when it comes to this conference. In fact, the only team, one of a couple of teams that's worse than them is New Orleans, and New Orleans just beat them. So it's a difficult situation out there, at least against the spread is concerned. I love an opportunity to jump in here with this greasy little Southeastern Louisiana spot. Still fighting for something in the conference. They're 4-5, but they're looking for that initial advantage to start their conference tournament off. Nicholls State just ahead of them, albeit 6-2. So they've got some mountain to climb. They are on the bubble. This is get moving forward or step way the hell back for Southeastern Louisiana here. And I think Incarnate Word's the right team to do it. They're just not playing well against the conference. And we got that Monday home court advantage. Onward and upward to game number 2. Let's see if Bo Jackson says Maple Leafs can win it in overtime. Islanders have won the last 2 games. That's what I was thinking. That's why I didn't want to mess with the puck lines out there, but I expect the Islanders to get the job done, Bo Jackson. We have that spot in our favor, but, obviously respect your opinion and what you have to go. If you start throwing some numbers on that thing with me, 32-32, I'm going I'm going to have to give it some strong reconsideration, but we are where we are. Pull one up out there in the chat. Says, hey, Mike, like how you cap and the great content you put up. I was wondering, would you still have the Islanders as a bet today if there were other games on the NHL card tonight? It would. Yes. You know what? Pulling up. Good on you, my guy. That's a great question, and I appreciate you asking that for me. Would I still play this game if there was other games to try to get involved with? If I've been known if there's only 2 games that I'll play one. But I think there's too much value on this line. And again, the 14-4 spot in this situation with the line being priced at this point shows a lot of value. The Islanders are not afraid to roll into Toronto and beat them boys up. And I think Toronto at home is just a difficult spot to be in. So great question. Thank you for asking. And yes, I still would at plus 140. Yeah, give me that number. I take it down to plus 125. I still think you're still getting 1.25 opportunities in the return. I think it's good money there to be had. So we'll see how the game plays out. Again, first game back from the All-Star game. I understand if you guys are apprehensive about jumping in here, you want to give it a couple of games, but I think it's a good opportunity. So Morgan Spooner says Incarnate is god awful. The only look for them is Southeast Louisiana off their biggest win of the year. It's gonna be a funny game to watch, but keep your eyes out there. Sky Wicks, if Sky Wicks goes off and goes ham on these boys, we're gonna be right where we want to see it. Does he get a double-double? I hope so. I hope he does, but I can't bet the player props in that thing. So for me, it's Southeastern Louisiana at -7, still available. Seeing 7.5 at 7 p.m. Eastern. Let's keep rolling here. We're going to have some fun with this next game. Kind of a similar spot as I was looking at these games and breaking it down. We've got Florida A&M opens at 6.5. It's moved to 8.5. So we've had 2 points of movement in their direction. There are still some 8s out there. We have 81% of the bets, 91% of the cash on Alabama State. I think I know why. We'll talk about it here. The total opens at 137.5. We're seeing 140.5s right now. 48% of the bets, 56% of the cash on the under, and it's moving up. So definitely a red flag. And it looks like now the 8s are gone. It's now 8.5. So we're continuing to see movement on this 10 and 11 Alabama State team. Florida A&M at 4-15. And if you just take a perusing through the situation with Florida A&M, it's not getting better for them either. This is another one of those teams that's just kind of gotten black-eyed in this conference right now. AAMU, they lose as a 2-point dog by 12 points on the road. They're not a strong road team whatsoever. Jacksonville State, they did beat Jacksonville State, but that was on their home court. They got beat up by Elkhorn. We were on Elkhorn that game. 76-67 as a 2.5-point favorite. I thought about rolling back to Elkhorn, but I think that we're getting, as much as this Alabama State line's moving, I think now it's moving where it needs to be, because we've seen Alabama State take 2 straight losses here against the spread. Straight up. They lost 56-55 to Texas Southern the other day. They were getting 5 points, though, a spot that I was on that Alabama State team, and they got the cover for us. They are just coming off that loss, though. Difficult spot for them, but 12-6 against the spread. So this team not struggling to cover the number out there. It was Bethune-Cookman that got him. And with all due respect, Bethune-Cookman sitting 4th in the conference right now, 5-3 with that 7-2 at-home record right now. So not a lot of surprise that they took the L on that one. But, we look back at this Alabama State team. Guess what? Number 3 in the conference right now. They're 4-3 at home, 3-8 on the road. And I isolate that number specifically because here's a team that's trying to struggle to get in top half of this conference and potentially have favorable seeding when it comes to the tournament. They're at home. That's where they play their best ball right now. And Monday favorites line between a 5 and 11 when they're coming off that loss, rebound incredibly well. It's happened 12 times in the conference. It's 9-3 against the spread in those spots. Florida A&M's lost 9 of its last 10 games following a road loss. So we've got 2 teams that are looking to try to rebound and rally off of recent situations. One team's done it to the mark of a 9-3 in the conference, and the others lost it 9 out of 10 times as well. I'm going to jump in on this Alabama State team. I love the number. I love the movement. I love this conference, and I can't believe it, but that's an 8:30 start to get us rolling. I tried to space the card out. You guys have heard me say it before. I don't want to have all my eggs in one basket, so to speak here. For me, it's more of an opportunity to enjoy the slate and the games as they roll. Nathan Cerna says he's on Alcorn. I'm not mad at that spot. I was so tempted to pull on the trigger on that. Morgan says, I love how you're attacking these mid-majors. Morgan, we're feasting on mid-majors too. I don't want to jinx it, but we have had a good couple of weeks here. I want to say when it comes to getting on Jimmy the Bag shows on Wednesdays and Thursdays, I want to say we've got 4 or 5 straight days in a row as well. So, you start talking about yesterday, though, guess what happens? And we're going to move forward and talk about today. So let's go have some more fun with it. Last game on the card's a big one, a big showdown here. Yeah, I'm still going to mess around with some of these big schools. I'm going to fuck around and find out if we can't find a way to thread the needle here. And it's Kansas State in the game everybody's talking about at 9 Eastern. I love it. There's only one game after it at 10 p.m. So if you look at the way my schedule and my card is broken down, I've got the 2 early hockey games. I'm jumping into this big battle. This should be right around halftime when my hockey games are ending, and then I'm going to wrap it up. We got a weird NBA slate today. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but there was some early action there that isn't necessarily maturing throughout. Guys, 150 plus out there. Hit that thumbs up button. Show us the love. I appreciate you guys dropping in here on a New Money Monday to get this cash. Let's talk about this Kansas State game. I hear a lot of back and forth on it. I'll give you guys, I've got a side and a total. I'm leaning on the total now. I liked it earlier today, but anyhow, this line opened at 3.5, has moved to some 4s. We've got 56% of the bets and 64% of the cash on the K-State side of the house. And it's moving in their direction. Now that's +4. So give that some consideration. Just think about that for a minute before I read some trends off to you guys here. The total opens at 142.5, 67% of the bets, 90% of the cash on the under. It's moved up 3 points. Again, given some consideration, this one's not quite the same, but for conversation purposes, we'll look at the money line, -170. I say it's not quite the same because you guys know, between the twos, I'm good to look at the money line. I think we get a better sample of what's happening here, but I mean, we're still within the window. It's worth talking about, I think. -170 moved to -176 on the Kansas money line. 77% of the bets, only 65% of the cash. That makes sense to me because, again, we're getting to that 2-to-1 money spot where, the bigger bettors are just going to take the 2-to-1 shots. I hear some guys, some ridiculous, I only take dogs. All right, go ahead, take that dog. But I think it's a tough spot tonight. If you're looking at the dog on this one, despite the bigger bettors, remember, bigger bettors are the ones that go to the window and have to ask for permission to drop that 10K on a spot. And then the books say, okay. And after they drop 10K on K-State at +140, they moved it to +162. So for whatever that's worth, K-State is rolling in the wrong direction with these numbers. We've got this 18-4 team, and Kansas kind of made me a believer. I was frankly, just full disclosure, we're all in the nest here, right? We're in the nest talking about this thing. I shit all over Kansas going into that Cincinnati game. I thought, what a shit spot for them. I still think they should have lost that game. Cincinnati, their first game in the Big 12. And, they showed struggle here, Kansas did, at home and handling their business. Then we start looking at the road and what's going on. They're 4.5-point dogs to Iowa State just a week ago. That's where we were cashing in on those Iowa State spots with those 4s. And, they covered the spread because of the hook. You might have missed that hook and ended up with a push. I think we ended up with a push in that game. Then you look at Oak State, though. They go out there, they beat up Oak State. It's their home court, but they came back after that near battle with Cincinnati on their home court, and they hammered them by almost 30 points, 83-54. The last game, of course, the big one with Houston. If you saw the way that they were just outright disrespecting Houston by their defense, that's where you have to put some consideration and put some respect on their names here. 78-65 final. It was pretty much a ping pong match back and forth in the second half, but Kansas earned that right by the way they started this game off. And now on the other side of things, you got a team that's coming out there handling business in the conference against the K-State team who has done nothing but lose as of late. Iowa State, there's that Iowa State team. They're 8.5-point spread. They lose by 11. They're 15-point dog to Houston. They got shut down by Houston, 22 points. Granted, those are both road games. Oklahoma, though, they go back to their home court. They're a 2.5-point favorite. They get ousted by 20 points to Oklahoma. And then they're a 2-point favorite against Oak State on the road. They end up losing to Oak State by 3. Keep in mind, the reason I read that off, a lot of these teams, they just played each other in this conference, and we've got some comparable opportunities for head-to-head situations. And you can see one team's been rising to the challenge and figuring it out. They are only 10-11-1 on the spread. But again, I think handling business. Their big feather in the cap was beating that Houston team, but now they've got an interesting spot because they still have Iowa State at 5-3, Baylor at 5-3, and Texas Tech at 5-3, all nipping at their heels. It's the top 2 perennials in the conference, Houston and Kansas at 6-3. This is not an afford to take the night off spot for Kansas. Houston could easily rally off that loss that they took there and find a way to get the job done. In fact, if you look at it, Houston's next game up, Oak State. Everybody's beating up on Oak State. So they should be getting that win here. And I think Kansas has to dial in and handle business. Furthermore, Kansas has won 25 of its last 26 night games against non-ranked opponents. And the big one for me that pushed me over the edge here, we're talking about how do they respond after shutting down the number one team in the conference? What are they doing out there from a defense and offensive perspective? They're a top 20 adjusted offensive and defensive efficiency program. They are 7-0 against the spread going back to February of 2021 when they're facing a team on a 3 or more game losing streak. It's a little quirky because I know they're on the road for this one, but I don't think it matters. I think this is just a team that's going to go out there and avail their will on this Kansas State team. In fact, if some of these basketball players for Kansas State are dating the cheerleaders, they better check out of this game early and make sure that they keep an eye on them because Kansas might do everything, including taking their cheerleaders home with them tonight. I think it's a good Kansas spot at -4. Get it while it's hot. There's 3.5s, 4s and 3.5s. I mean, you're flipping the coin to me. It doesn't matter. -115s for the 3.5s, -110s for the 4s. I'll take them 4s out there and get the job done. 18-4 Kansas, 14-8 Kansas State, if I'm not mistaken. I see Tony says both teams are 14-8. I thought one was 18-4 and the other was 14-8. But anyhow, it's semantics. Kansas State's towards the bottom of the conference. And I think Kansas wants to lock this conference down. This week, they want to get where they need to go. Perky bumps and asks, oh, yeah, it's going to be a good night, Kansas. Let's go, boys. Kelly B, meanwhile, is Eastern Washington only 5? I couldn't give you a good assessment on that thing. 6, they open up as a road favorite, so there's that going for them at 3.5 points. In a team that they're both competitively situated with their conference records. Is that the game? Oh, that's the game I think that Tony – I think that's the game Tony was talking about, the 14-8. Yeah, both those teams are 14-8. The fact that they're 3.5-point favorites on the road tells me that, it's not as funny or suspect as people would think that is. It's not a game I jumped into entirely too much. I thought they were both pretty close. I just made a nice boatload on a nice +170 spot for Portland State the other day to get the job done. So I wasn't too eager to go give that one back here. But, you look at it. Yeah, Portland State's got 3 wins in a row. I think it's the big deal is how did Eastern Washington respond on the road? They lost to Montana State 70-60 as that 3.5-point favorite. Then they come back as a 1.5-point dogs to Montana, and they came out there and beat them outright. So that's a tricky game to get involved with. It's not anything I wanted to have action in. But let's keep rolling here because we've got some 7 p.m. NBA. In fact, a weird NBA card. There's going to do it for the 3 spot for you guys in college basketball, 2 in hockey, 3 in college hoops. Let's move over to the NBA. We've got ourselves, a 6-game card tonight. I had to be selective here. I wanted to open up on some games. Full disclosure, I couldn't find the spots to get in there. Lakers and Hornets kind of going by the numbers here. The first game that starts at 7 o'clock. You guys know the Hornets are squarely atop my shit list in the NBA. But I can't do it. 13.5 points right now. That's just a bad number. Then I saw the Lakers when they're double-digit favorites are in an over spot. They're 10-0 to the over. This number opened at 232. It's dropped to 226.5. I don't know if AD's playing and LeBron's playing. I don't know if they're going to go up so many points that they screw up all the opportunities for prop bets out there. That's very likely a situation I could see happening. 61% of the bets and 53% of the cash on the under. Clearly it's a Lakers spot, but you want to lay double digits on the road to the Lakers. And, you look at the Lakers in their calendar right now and their schedule. They just played the Knicks well on the road. They just shut down Boston as a 15.5-point favorite on the road, but it was Atlanta that gave him fits, 138-122 as a 5.5-point dog. And they ended up getting, 14-point L in that game. So I passed on that first game. My nose is itching. Let's go to the next game though. I don't know that I have a graphic for this next one. This is the one that I added. We'll get back to it. Let's take a look at the rest of the card and we'll get back to it here. This Cavaliers game and the Kings game. Now that is the one I added, so we might as well talk about it, right? 230 is where the number opens. This game opens as a 3.5-point dog for the Kings on the road. Has moved to 5.5s. We've got 59% of the bets and 66% of the cash on the Cavs. It's moved to 0.5 point. Now I get it. The Kings on the road, not the strongest place they want to play ball. I just don't know about these Cavs. The spot that I ended up moving on, I'm head-to-head with our boy. I went to the under in this one. 235.5 is the number I'm seeing now. It's late movement here that's moved this number up. I think 80%, 52% of the bets, 58% of the cash on the under. No graphic for it because I made this as a last-minute ad. Didn't get a chance to tell T about it, but a lot of things I thought were going for the Cavs. They're 5-0 in the database when it's opened up at a total of 230 points before the market touches it. So when they open at 230, they are perfect to the under. Only team left in the database to be so. Also, other side of this thing is to correlate the Sacramento Kings 40-13 to the under as a dog against the team they beat in the previous matchup. They don't show fear and let that other team get away from them. They show that they can handle them and kind of lock them down and knock them out. So I went to this under. And just as I'm saying that now, we just see it move back a point. One of you guys dropped the bag on it here in the chat, and I appreciate that. So let's see what happens there. But that was an official show ad for me. Let's move on to some other plays that we have here, some official NBA spots for the card tonight. So again, we added the Cavs under. It's 235s that I see out there. 5.5, 4.5. I don't care. 235. I like it down to 232s if that's the best number. You're going to be able to get a better number than that, though. This thing's going to pop off in about 15 minutes. So Roto says LBJ and Davis are in. Nutflush Allen, my guy. Shout out to you, Nutflush. I just can't do it, man. That's too many points. I mean, are they going to, what's going to happen is they're going to be out there kicking the shit out of them at halftime or losing outright, and they're going to lose interest in not being in that second game. So Mike says, so they go over tonight. First month, fifth. I'm struggling to read that one, but yeah, I mean, hey, I like the under. I took the under in that spot there. I know our guys on the other side. You watched Medicate Monday earlier, you would have heard him be on the other side, but it's all right. I just got him on the last head-to-head. So we got plenty of opportunities at stake. We'll keep it rolling. You guys, the next game on the card, we're looking at the Dallas Mavericks and the Philadelphia 76ers. Want to wrap this card up here and get you guys on your way tonight. Big shows coming up with our guys at Pub Sports. Jimmy the Bags hosting the NFL countdown to the Super Bowl. You're going to want to go see all the experts giving their looks, their props, their sides, their totals as we get ready for the big game here. And we're going to drop one off here at the end. Nutflush says, Mike M, team total over Cavs. Our guy, Nutflush Allen, you guys have heard me say it before. When this guy goes out there and gives us that whisper, he's the team total whisperer. I'm just going to leave it at that. Team total whisperer. That's our guy. You got to earn your nicknames around here, and he very much has earned his nickname. Let's talk about this Mavs and Sixers game, guys. I'm a Philadelphia guy. I love the teams, all of them. I don't care how bad they are. But in this case here, I want them to be bad in some spots like the Philadelphia Flyers, and they're just too stupid to realize they should be losing. That being said, though, these 76ers, very unique position. I talked about this the other day. We love to fade the All-Star, the team when the All-Star is gone. But this isn't that same situation. The All-Star's been gone for like 2 weeks now. He's been back and forth, hobbling around, and now he's gone officially under the knife, and they've taken him off for some long-term relief. The number opened at 1.5. It's moved to threes. 69% of the bets and 64% of the cash on the Dallas Mavericks. The totals ticked up a point. We've gone from 241.5 to 242.5. 56% of the bets, 86% of the cash on this over on this thing and seeing points in this game. And I didn't mess with the total. I'll tell you what, I leaned to the total. I leaned to the 243. But it was 243. Now it's starting to come back. It's starting to regress. With all that cash coming in on the over, I had to make it a lean at best here. The Mavericks are 10-0 to the over going back to December 2022 when they have less than 2 days rest, and they're coming off a 10-point or greater home loss. So they come out there and they start hooping in those situations. But in this case here, I think that works to the advantage of taking the Dallas Mavericks. And, we're seeing the numbers now at 3. I'm good with I see a 2.5 out there still, actually. I see a 2.5 at -108. So we will take that -2.5 at -108. And look, I just think this is a situation where we talk about rest. The road team with rest after a home loss, what do they do? And when they've got that rest and they're in a bounce back spot, they focus down and play hoop. They go 46-15 against the spread. They've won 6 in a row in that trend where we've got the road team with rest after a home loss. And there is no Embiid. We know that. Maxi's the question mark. Can he go off and bang down his numbers 27.5 points? It's juice to the over. Can he get 28, 29, 30? And even if he does, I think he's got some problems with Luka and Kyrie. I like those boys to get the job done. I know our boy also gave out, our boy Trotlam was talking that Kelly Oubre spot out there, which is, again, another situation that's very interesting to me with them threes. But I'm on this Dallas side at -2.5. I think it's a bad spot for Philly. I know they're a strong team at home, but regression, this is a regression spot for this team. They should not be such small favorites in this case here. I think the books just don't know exactly the impact we're seeing with this Embiid-less 76ers team. I know they play tremendous at home. Kelly V says Tobias Harris is illness, sickness. Is he able to go? As I look at this game here, I do see Kyrie is probable. I see Exum and Lively are out, but Luka not on the report. On the Philly side of things, Batum, Covington, Embiid, Melton, and Lofton all out of this game. I don't see anything else, though. So it looks like the rest of them boys might be a go. I think the challenge is Maxey went off and firebombed them boys the other night. And because of that and getting that victory that they were able to claim, it's a difficult spot to see exactly what this meaning is without Embiid. And I'm talking specifically about that Utah game on the road. You know, the Sixers, I've said it time and again, 5-6 games deep. What's the toughest part about that road trip? The first game back, they lost 136-121 to one of the worst teams in the NBA, the Brooklyn Nets. I think it's a good bounce back spot. The Mavericks have been kind of idling, but I think they get their boys back tonight. They get healthy and they go out there and rally. So Kelly V says Kyrie's supposed to be in, Lively out. Yeah, that's what it was looking like. Lively is out in that game. Excuse me. Joe T says, Mike, what do you think about the Clippers game? Let's go. Let's take a segue into our next game with the leadoff from our guy, Joe T. Look, you want to bet the Hawks? You got a bigger bankroll than I do. I mean, Gerald Jones says also Hawks 5th straight home game. And that's a tricky spot. I think it's a little bit different when you're 5 straight at home. We'll talk about the numbers first. -3.5s. We're seeing 4.5s out there now for the clip show here. 54% of the bets, 56% of the cash on the Hawks. The line's moving, in the Clippers side of things here. It's making it stronger to bet the Hawks than it was previously when this thing opened up. 244.5 has dropped. I guess it depends on where you shop. 52% of the bets, 67% of the cash on the under in this Clippers game here. And, no disrespect to anybody that's been capping the NBA a lot longer than I have, but I need a lot more than the fact that Miami's got great strip clubs to want to get involved with saying that Harden's a fade on this spot here. Harden's gone out there and done nothing but hoop since he's come to the program. And his assist prop, in my opinion, is very live. 4th best offensive production in the assist category to the point guard position, a spot for James Harden tonight. The Clippers, 3 wins in a row, all on the road. Interesting, they're 4-1 in their last 5. They've downed Boston. They lost to Cleveland, but it was a tricky little spot. But they did beat Washington. Not really much effort required in that victory. Double-digit win, double-digit spread. They beat Detroit. Did not cover, but I believe that was the spot I was on, Detroit. And then Miami, playing that Miami spot out there, handled business down in Miami, 103.95, covered the spread on a 5-point number. And the other side of things with the Hawks, look, 4 straight wins. They're 3-1 in their last 4 against the spread. I understand it. Mike says, Mike, Miami does have a lot of strip clubs. I don't disagree. But I think it's a different situation right now with what these boys have going on here. And I'll give you guys some of the numbers behind it. The Hawks, after a spread cover, which is where they just came off of here, after they cover a spread, they're 3-14 against the spread. Difficult situation. The numbers suggest that this final is somewhere around 124-116. So should be a nice little 8-point opportunity there. The Hawks, after overtime as a home dog against a non-conference team, are 5-12 against the number in those spots. And then last but not least, the Clippers, as road favorites after their opponent just won a game, are 40-24 against the spread. They're 51-13 outright in those games. And again, the average margin of victory being 8 points. Not too scared about the 3 being the situation. Tarek B says Harden played about 40 minutes yesterday. Can he handle it back-to-back? I'm not going to mess with his. I'm not going to mess with his props. I believe we have that multi-game, same-game parlay from the show earlier today. But quarter unit investment on those things here. This is an opportunity where I think the Clippers are just out here to handle business. And look, the next situation that the Hawks have up, Boston and Philadelphia. So they can afford to down this non-con opponent and need to get right through 3.5 games out of the playoffs. I don't think the Clippers matter for shit to them. On the other side of things, when you look at the Clippers, they're going back home. So the next game against the Pelicans after this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, now 7th game in a row, that's the spot we're going to fade, especially if they get out there and handle business tonight. So circle that one down. February 7th is what, Wednesday? Wednesday, we'll be looking to take the Pelicans in that spot. Not tonight, as I believe it is a Clipper spot to shine through. So Apache Storm says, somebody just put $1 million on the Clippers, things that make you go, Was that you, Apache? Rick J says Kings are 5-1 on their current road trip. Yeah, I get that. I get it. Mike says regression. Ricky Ravine says Harden with a slightly twisted ankle may take it easy tonight. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, the team's a lot bigger than him. I just think, from a points production standpoint, we talked a little bit about what happened when they first acquired him, right? They lost those first 3 games or whatever. Since then, they've literally put the, club to the back of the head, baby seal style, to everybody else that they faced out there. Let's go. We got a couple minutes before 7 to get you guys up out of here. Let's talk about this last game. And this is the old red flag. If we had a button, I would push it with a big warning sound here, because I get it. This one makes so much sense, right? Let's talk about the numbers. 9.5 has moved to 11.5. 72% of the bets, 91% of the cash on the Pelicanos. The total opens at 235.5, dropped to 230, 64% of the bets and 94% of the cash on the under. And the books are showing their concern, but guess what, sports fans? This 11's been sitting there since around midnight last night. I remember everybody saying, if you want to take the Pelicans, take them now. That number's going to move. Well, guess what the number hasn't done? Moved. So there's the benefit of having late betting here being great betting. Now, that doesn't mean anything for anything when it comes down to it. It's just a weird spot here where everybody knows we're on kind of that revenge situation. We've got a further spot there with this opportunity with the Raptors coming off of double overtime. I can read the numbers to you guys if you want to hear it. It's not supporting a Raptor side. I just think there's a big red flag out here. Everyone's betting on these boys. They know it's a revenge spot. They know it's a bad spot after that double OT for Scotty Barnes and them boys. But, home teams with multiple days rest are 25-5 versus a team with no rest if they average a line between minus and +8, which very much is the spot for now average. That's not the current line. That's the average. And this line's sitting at 11.5, but the margin inside of there is only 9.5 points. So this one's very much a quandary to me. I think this has gotten too many, but I do like the over in this one. I jumped in. I get that this number's dropping. I think it works to our favor. This number should be a finish around 242 to 244, and we're catching a 230. Simply put here, teams with no rest off a road game that went to overtime are 21-0, going over by 18 points a game if the total's more than 212.5 points. So we got a great 21-0 spot isolated here for this Toronto team at a 230 that I want to get all over. I got it. I'm not mad at anybody, but this number is just a lot for the Pelicans. You watch the way the Pelicans just played against Houston. Why were they, what? They were looking ahead to play Toronto on that off the back-to-back situation? I don't think so. I think this number is just too big. Now, could the Pelicans go out there and smack some ass? Yeah, wouldn't surprise me one bit, but I'm going to be involved in the points in this game. I think that this number suggests it's not a blowout, albeit the second half, there's probably some separation. So some great opportunity to live bet. Nasty Nate says 11.5 on his book. Caddy Daddy says Zion going to bully tonight. I'm not surprised at any of that. I just think the number's too big here. 21-0 spot, and it drops 5 on 2 and 5. Yeah, Mike, but that's because I got the old keys to the old sports book with these things here. So I don't think everybody gets to see those spots out there. And I think everybody's looking at it going, there's no way Toronto's going to come out there and ball and hoop. Now, Nutflush does have a spot that I can certainly support. Team total over Pelicanos 120.5. In fact, Nutflush, the pen is out, and I'm writing that one down because I could certainly get behind it. I just think this is too many points in that spot here. And, the Toronto team, the thing that concerned me after watching them yesterday, I was on the over with Toronto yesterday. I mean, double overtime, so obviously they got there. You would hope they got there. The funny part, though, our Scotty Barnes trend to the under on his rebounds finally didn't cash after like 20 straight games. He was priced at 6.5, and it was plus money at plus 108 is where I got it at. And, because of double overtime, he got seven rebounds in double overtime. So might be an opportunity to go back to the well in that game as well. I just think it's going to be a little closer than the books are indexing in this one. Do we see another overtime? Probably not. Probably the fourth quarter. Good opportunity to bang on the Pelicans live. But let's transition, you guys. I promised you guys we're going to get the old road to the Super Bowl challenge here. The last spot we're going to look at for the day, I'm going to drop with you guys. Just some fun here. Some fun to get moving. I'm excited about the Super Bowl. I can't wait to get involved with live streaming that game and having fun doing it. Of course, we'll go cocktail wide. But we had a great spot out there. The other Sunday there, conference championships swept the board sweepage on sides and totals, live bets. The only thing we didn't hit was the touchdown prop, and we made a bunch of live props up for it. So I thought, you know what? Let's go have some fun with it. Let's see what we can do out there. And I'm going to open it up. I figured, you know what? We got some props, we got some sides, we got some totals, and we got 5 days to talk about them. So I will give you guys my feedback on all of those areas of this game here. And look, I'm going to, just so you can see the levity of the segment here, I'm going to go with the open up on the Gatorade winning team total color, boys and girls. We're going to start with, I'm saying it with a smile, but also it's going to be something I put some cash on. And look, love to hear your guys' thoughts on this one here. First prop day of the show, first prop play of the show. Tails never fails, but we're not going to go there. We're going to talk a little bit about the color of the Gatorade, just a little warmer here. I love to see the line movement. I want to see and get the benefit with sides and totals towards the end of the week to give you guys the best looks there. But let's talk about this color. And I'm rolling with the red. Where was the number that I saw on the red? I shared about it earlier today, and I'll tell you guys why I think red makes sense. I'd love to see your guys' thoughts in the chat, too, with these colors of the Gatorade spot out there. Color of Gatorade being red. Oh, there's Billy Briz. Pimp Slap Beauty. Call me crazy. Atlanta tonight at home. I mean, look, there are a lot of great strip clubs down there in Miami. So, we know James Harden likes that spot there, but all right, the red Gatorade color we got a plus 700, guys. So be smart about these things. I'm going to give you guys some coin toss. I got some MVP. I got some opportunities for first half, some full games. We'll stretch them out through the week just to have fun with it. But you want to go by the numbers? Of course, I'm going to break it down by the numbers. The Super Bowl Gatorade color the last 2 times these teams played ended up being orange. And it's been orange in a lot of Super Bowls. It's been used 5 different times out there. Blue and clear water coming next at 4 times each over the last 23 Super Bowls. No Gatorade bath certainly has come into the equation as well. Yellow and purple 3 times each. But guess which color has fallen by the wayside? Which color are both these teams? They're both red out there. And we haven't seen red in forever and a day. Might be that dirty, grimy, sleazy little play. But we got both teams being in red. Oh, and guess who else has an album named Red? It's your girl, Tay-Tay, with an album called Red out there. Great opportunity for us to capitalize on the Tay-Tay effect of plus 700. I'm going to start it out. We're going to open up the prop card. Just a small little fun bet there, but plus 700 for the color to be red that we haven't seen in forever. Both teams are colored that way. We've got Tay-Tay. Oh, what color lipstick does she wear? Red lipstick. She wears red lipstick. We're going to go with red to open up the card, you guys. And that'll do it tonight. So I hope you guys get that cash. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. We'll talk about the card one last time and recap the under 235 in the Cavs game, the over 230 in the Toronto game, the LA Clippers at -3, the Dallas Mavericks at -2.5. We got Kansas -4, Alabama State -8, Southeastern Louisiana -7, and we double dip the NHL with the New York Rangers -103 and the New York Islanders +140, you guys. I hope you have a great day today, and I look forward to seeing everybody back here tomorrow at Last Call, 6 p.m. Shout out to my homeboy T, rocking them 1s and 2s, getting it tight and right for everybody. He's going to be back here tomorrow. Can't wait to hang out with you guys again and see how we perform today. Our boys coming up with the big show tonight, though. Make sure you got the notifications turned on for Pub Sports Radio. When we go live, you'll be notified. We'll have a way to go out there and get it done, and they're going to go live tonight. They got an extravaganza, a banger laid out here for NFL props, sides, totals, and everything you're going to need to pregame for the big game. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Shout out to my boy T and everybody up there in the chat. Billy Priz, Blue Numbers, Bella Coots, Abel A, Apache Storm hanging out with us tonight. There's Mike, Subhuman Gaucho, JPZ in the house, Ricky Levine. Appreciate all you guys rocking with us. Kelly V, Nut Blush Allen, the team total whisperer himself, rocking with you guys. Justin, can't wait to see what we do tomorrow and get ourselves much more action in the hockey slate. Nasty Nate, appreciate you. Rick J, hanging out. Tarek B, Brian Watson. Guys, come back tomorrow. We're going to do it again. Same time, same place. Pub Sports Radio. We be pubbing!